Let me go to Operation Fast and Furious, you mentioned in your testimony. Mr. Attorney General, who was the highest level official in this administration who knew that these tactics were being used? And I'm talking about knew the tactics were being used before the death of Agent Brian Terry on December 15th, 2010.
Well, we know that the operation began in the field offices in Arizona, both in the U.S. Attorney's Office and in the ATF office there. The Inspector General is in the process of examining the
right,
way
but
in which...
To your knowledge, who was the highest-ranking official in the administration who knew about the tactics?
At this point, I can say that it started in Arizona, and I'm not at all certain who beyond that can be said to have been involved with regard to the use. Now, there was knowledge of it, but with regard to the use of the tactics, I don't certainly think we
know about it. No one other than ATF officials in Arizona, you're saying, knew about the tactics used in Operation Fast and Furious before December 15th, 2010. Is that right?
I think that in terms of knowledge of the tactics as opposed to the operation itself, I don't think that anybody in Washington knew about those tactics until the beginning of 2010.
Speaking of those tactics...
March 15th, 2010, before Brian Terry was gunned down. April 19th, 2010, before Brian Terry was gunned down. May 7th, 2010, before Brian Terry was gunned down. May 17th, 2010, before Brian Terry was gunned down. June 2nd, 2010, before Brian Terry was gunned down. July 2nd, the real date of our independence, 2010, obviously earlier, before Brian Terry was gunned down. These wiretap applications, which we did not subpoena, but which were given to us by a furious group of whistleblowers that are tired of your stonewalling, indicate that a number of key individuals in your administration, in fact, were responsible for information contained in here that clearly shows that the tactics of Fast and Furious were known. They were known and are contained in these wiretaps. I understand you've read these wiretaps since we brought them to your attention. Is that correct?
I have read them, and I disagree with the conclusion you've just reached.